A finish line is supposed to be the end of the race, the moment you can finally stop running. We are sold a picture of this finish line from a very young age. It's called retirement, a golden paradise where freedom finally begins, a place of endless calm, warm beaches, and no more alarms. The reward for a life of hard work. But what if it's not a finish line? What if it's just another starting pistol for a race you weren't prepared to run? Imagine spending your entire life preparing for a future moment when you'll finally be free. A moment that comes after decades of stress and postponing happiness. You follow the rules, you climb the ladder, you save the money. You trade your youth and your energy for a promise, a golden ticket to a paradise of freedom. What if I told you that entire concept is one of the biggest lies you've ever been told? A truth that society rarely wants you to confront. Because this finish line, this magical state called retirement, for many people, it's not a paradise. It's an empty room at the end of a long hallway, and they get there only to realize they forgot why they were running in the first place. This script we follow is simple. Go to school, get good grades, find a stable job, and work for 40+ years. Then, if you're lucky, if your health allows, you can enjoy a few years of rest before the inevitable end. It feels natural, a linear path. It's a story told so often that we mistake it for a law of nature. But it's not. The modern idea of retirement didn't exist for most of human history. It was introduced in the 1880s by a German chancellor named Otto von Bismarck. He set the retirement age at 65. But here's the part of the story they leave out. At that time, the average life expectancy was barely reaching 60. The system was never designed for decades of happy leisure. It was a political strategy, a way to clear the workforce for younger generations. It was a tool. Fast forward to today, and that tool has been perfected. The retirement dream has been repackaged and sold globally. Corporate systems, advertising, even governments have pushed this idea that we should exchange our present happiness for future security. Retirement plans and investment schemes became the modern carrots dangling in front of us, keeping us moving through the maze. Think about the phrases you've heard your whole life. Work hard now so you can enjoy later. One day you'll finally rest. It's a culture of delayed living. Psychologists call this future bias. It's our tendency to overvalue rewards in the distant future at the expense of joy in the present. The behavioral economist Daniel Kahneman wrote about how we are wired to delay gratification, sometimes endlessly, believing that tomorrow holds the key. But tomorrow is always a day away. It's a moving target. This system needs you to believe in that tomorrow. An economy built on consumption and labor depends on people buying into the dream. If you're always chasing future freedom, you'll keep working harder, spending more, and sacrificing your now for a hypothetical later. You become a predictable unit, a good worker, a good consumer. Let me ask you something. How many moments of real presence have you sacrificed for a future that isn't even guaranteed? How many times have you put off a passion, a trip, or just quiet time with someone you love because you told yourself, one day when I retire? The best years are often spent just waiting. The price of admission to this future paradise is paid today. The currency is your life, and the cost is higher than we think. Most people who reach retirement don't find the bliss they imagined. Studies from the National Institute on Aging show that depression and a sense of purposelessness increase significantly among retirees. The University of Michigan's Health and Retirement Study revealed that retirees face a 40% increase in the risk of clinical depression compared to their working peers. Why? Because for decades, their identity, routine, and self-worth were tied to their job. Their whole story was their title. A teacher, a manager, an engineer. Psychologists sometimes call this identity foreclosure. It's when you commit to an identity, the mask you wear for the world, without ever really exploring who you are underneath it. We treat ourselves like cogs in a machine, valuable only when producing. So when the machine stops, the cog feels worthless. The question, who am I, becomes terrifyingly loud in the sudden silence, and the body keeps the score. The World Health Organization reports that chronic stress-related illnesses are skyrocketing. Heart disease, anxiety disorders. The pressure to keep up is eroding our physical and mental well-being long before retirement ever arrives. So many people sacrifice their health for wealth, only to spend that wealth trying to get their health back. According to the CDC, nearly 60% of adults over 65 live with at least 2 chronic conditions. They arrive at the finish line broken. There's something even more startling. The American Journal of Preventive Medicine found that the first 6 years after retirement are associated with a significant spike in mortality rates, especially for men. The sudden loss of routine, purpose, and social connection takes a massive psychological toll. The body just gives up. We do all this for a future of security and happiness. But the longest study on adult development, a 75-year project from Harvard University, found that the greatest predictor of long-term happiness and health isn't career success or financial wealth. It's the quality of our close relationships. People who maintained strong social bonds were not only happier, but they lived longer and had better mental health. Yet the retirement lie encourages us to put these very relationships on hold. We say we're doing it for them, for our family, but children grow up. Parents age. Life happens now. The media, of course, shows us smiling retirees on beaches holding cocktails. It doesn't show the isolation, the boredom, or the existential emptiness that many actually face. It's a beautiful lie, and we keep buying it. The philosopher Alan Watts often spoke about this destructive cycle. He described life not as a journey with a destination, but as a kind of dance or a piece of music. The purpose of a dance is not to get to a certain spot on the floor. The purpose is the dance itself. The purpose of music is not to get to the final note. The purpose is the listening. But we live like we're just trying to get to the end of the song as fast as possible. So what if the trap isn't the job or the lack of money? What if the trap is the belief that freedom is a destination? The great secret is this: freedom is not something you arrive at after a certain number of years worked or a certain amount of money saved. It's a state of mind you can access right now. It happens the moment you stop waiting for your life to begin. The philosopher Jiddu Krishnamurti once said that freedom is not at the end of the road. It is in the first step you take. Every day you wake up and you choose how to approach your life. With gratitude or resentment, with presence or distraction. In each of those small choices you are choosing either freedom or captivity. The cage was never locked. Maybe we just never checked the door. This isn't about writing a resignation letter tomorrow. This is about starting a quiet rebellion inside the life you already have. It's about redefining your relationship with time, with purpose, and with what freedom truly means. The first step is to escape what some call psychological time. This is the habit of living in a mental projection of the future or a memory of the past, but never fully being where you are. You may think retirement will finally bring you peace, but if your mind is addicted to living in the future, that habit won't magically disappear when you stop working. You'll just find new things to worry about, new goals to chase. The scenery changes, but the mental pattern stays the same. To escape this, you have to practice being present. How? You start by redefining success. Instead of measuring your day by what you accomplished or how much you produced, measure it by how fully you lived. Did you learn something new? Did you connect with someone who matters to you? Did you take care of your body and mind? These are the metrics that actually build a fulfilling life. Next, you integrate micro moments of joy into your daily routine. Behavioral scientists have shown that small positive moments have a cumulative effect on your happiness and resilience. Waiting until retirement to experience joy is like refusing to eat until the weekend. You will starve emotionally long before then. This can be as simple as truly tasting your morning coffee, stepping outside for 5 minutes of fresh air, or listening to one song without doing anything else. And here's something crucial: cultivate hobbies and interests that are not tied to your job or financial gain. Studies in positive psychology show that people with strong personal interests, activities done purely for the love of them, experience less depression and anxiety, both before and after retirement. Painting, gardening, learning an instrument, volunteering, these things reconnect you with yourself beyond the label of worker. Alan Watts emphasized the value of play. He believed that life, at its core, is not a problem to be solved, but an experience to be enjoyed. Children understand this. You can also cultivate resilience through simple practices. One is gratitude, not as a cheesy idea, but as a daily discipline. Researchers have demonstrated that people who regularly write down what they're grateful for experience lower levels of depression and higher levels of well-being. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's missing in the future to what's available in the present. Another is mindfulness. You don't need to sit on a mountaintop for hours. Studies from Harvard Medical School show that just 5 to 10 minutes a day of mindful breathing can start to reduce stress and rewire the brain for emotional regulation. It's about learning to be with yourself, right here, without needing to escape. Finally, nurture your community. One of the greatest threats in the post-retirement phase is isolation. We are social beings, wired for connection. Loneliness has been linked to higher rates of cognitive decline and premature death. Start building your social network now, with connections that aren't tied to your professional identity. Because when the day comes that you step away from your career, it won't be your job title that sustains you. It will be your relationships, your sense of purpose, and your ability to live fully in the present moment. When you stop seeing time as an enemy you're always running out of, something strange happens. The present moment gets bigger. A single hour can feel rich and full. You might still go to the same job, but you are no longer a prisoner there. You find pockets of freedom everywhere, in the 5 conscious breaths you take before a meeting, in the choice to have a real conversation with a colleague, in the decision to be fully present with a loved one at dinner instead of thinking about tomorrow. You start to shift from a rigid, fragile plan to a flexible, resilient mindset. The economist Nassim Nicholas Taleb wrote about black swans, unpredictable, rare events that can completely upend even the most carefully constructed plans. A market crash, a health crisis, a personal loss. The more we try to control the future, the more fragile we become when it doesn't go according to script. But when your sense of well-being comes from your internal state of presence, you become more adaptable. The neurologist and Holocaust survivor Viktor Frankl wrote that everything can be taken from a person except one thing: the freedom to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. He found freedom even in the most unimaginable conditions because he understood that the real prison and the real liberation is in the mind. That kind of freedom is available to you too, right now. It's the freedom in waking up 15 minutes earlier to enjoy a peaceful cup of tea while watching the sunrise. It's the freedom in giving yourself permission to laugh, to explore, to be creative, even if only for a few minutes a day. It's about aligning your daily actions with what truly matters to you, not with what a societal script tells you should matter. The more you do this, the more you experience genuine freedom, long before any official retirement date. Life isn't something that starts later. It doesn't begin after the next promotion, after the kids grow up, after you pay off the house, or after you retire. It is happening now, in this breath, in this choice. Alan Watts captured this truth beautifully when he said, "This is the real secret of life, to be completely engaged with what you are doing in the here and now, and instead of calling it work, realize it is play." So as you leave this, I invite you to pause, to take a deep breath, and to ask yourself, you've spent your whole life preparing to live. When exactly were you planning on starting?